Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today it is August 20th, 2020, and Thursday we are going to start our lesson about isocont curve. In our last lesson, we were talking about the production function in the short run. That means how production of the goods will be changing due to the changes in the variable factor of production, keeping the fixed factor in the production process. Okay, one factor of production was fixed, that was capital, at least one was fixed, and others were the variable. And the variable factor was the labor. And we had also analyzed the law of diminishing returns in the short run. Today I am going to start a new topic about isocont curve. What do we mean by isocont? Iso means equal. What do we mean by iso? Iso means equal. Iso means equal. And quant means quantity. All right. Now, isocont curve shows that the equal level of output is produced by different combinations of labor and capital. So, isocont curve shows the same level of output is produced by different combinations of labor and capital. So, in that case, we say when different combinations of labor and capital, like if firm is producing 1000 units of output by employing 100 workers and 5 units of capital, so they are able to produce 1000 units of output. And if in another condition they are producing the same amount, the same number of units of output by employing less labor and more capital, therefore these points can be shown by a curve which is called isocont curve. So isocont curve, we write it in this way, isocont shows different combinations of labor and capital which are producing the same level of output, the same level of total output. All right, at ceteris paribus, you can say when other factors are kept constant. So we say there are different combinations. We can draw the isocont curve in this way. Here I am taking labor. Here I am taking capital. The two factors of production. Capital is noted by K, whereas labor is noted by the letter L. But there can be different combinations. Like there are different techniques. You might be knowing there can be different techniques of production. What do we mean by that? Capital intensive technology or labor intensive technology. So when we are using more capital in the production unit, that is called capital intensive technology. And when we are using more labor to produce the same level of output rather than capital, so that is called labor intensive technology. So there can be the different ways to produce. Suppose we are having a target to produce a quantity of 1000 units of output. So there are different ways. This is A method, this is B method, and this can be a C method. All right. So here we find if firm is producing at point A, it is using more capital and less labor, but at point A, it is able to produce 1000 units of output. Now, in another option, what happens? The firm is producing at this point C, again 1000 units of output are produced, but here more labor is used than capital. So point A is capital intensive method to produce the same level of output, whereas point C, that is a labor intensive method to produce the same level of output. In between them, we can say this is point B, where again firm is able to produce 1000 units of output by different combinations of labor and capital. Now you can say capital and labor are also used, but it is neither capital intensive nor we say it is labor intensive. This is just a method of production where we can say equal proportion of labor and capital are used to produce the same level of output. Now if we join these 3 points, in a smooth way, I can say this is going to be the isocont curve. What it is? An isocont curve which shows us different combinations of labor and capital in order to produce the same level of output. I said different combinations of labor and capital, they are used to produce, they are employed in order to produce the same level of output. Okay, any point along this isocont is having the same level of output. All right, either firm is producing at this point where more capital is used and less labor is there, it is able to produce again the 1000 units of output. Or if firm moves along this curve from point A to point B, what happens? It is decreasing capital and substituting it with labor. So when capital is substituted with labor, again the same level of 1000 units of output are produced. As we are moving along this curve, what is happening? Capital amount is decreasing, whereas more labor is added. So as a result, what happens? We are able to produce 1000 units of output by all the combinations which are available along this isocont curve. So isocont actually shows what? The different combinations of labor and capital to produce the same level of total output. You might be knowing it has the same shape like indifference curve. And in case of indifference curve, we were talking about total utility was kept constant when 2 goods were consumed along that indifference curve. So here we are taking on the axis the factors of production or inputs like capital and labor. Rather than to take food and cloth, now we are taking capital and labor to represent the same curve. The shape of the same curve is remaining the same. So we are saying that it shows the same level of total output produced by different combinations of labor and capital used in this case. Now I will show you there can be different isoconts available to the firm. Like along one isocont, the level of output will remain same. If firm decides to produce more output, like this is one isocont, this is another isocont, this can be another isocont. Along this isocont, they are able to produce 1000 units. Here they can produce maybe 3000 units of output and 5000 units of output. So any isocont which is lying away from the origin, the level of output will be increasing. And any isocont which is lying closer to the origin, the level of output will be decreasing. But keep it in mind, along one isocont, the level of output does not vary. What is varying? The different combinations of labor and capital, they are varying, but the level of output will remain same. I think it is clear to you, all of you people, that one isocont shows the combinations of labor and capital in order to produce the same level of output. And we can also analyze these different things which are present within an isocont. We can say an isocont is downward sloping, isn't it? An isocont is downward sloping. What do we mean by downward sloping curve? It is negatively sloped again. Negative slope means what? If we are substituting capital with labor, what is happening? Capital will decrease and labor will increase. One factor of production, if it is decreased, another will increase, but level of output will remain same. So it is downward sloping. Can I say the slope or gradient of this isocon change in capital due to change in labor? It is a non-linear curve. So we have to draw a tangent in order to measure its slope or its gradient. But right now we are drawing the diagrams rough to scale. In economics, we are not having scaled diagrams, but we are drawing rough to scale diagrams. We say in order to increase labor by a single unit, how many units of capital will be given up to remain along the same isocont? All right. So if firm wants to increase labor by another extra unit of labor, another extra worker is added, how many units of capital will be given up? That is called the rate of change of isocont or the slope of isocont curve. So we write it, it is downward sloping, it is negatively sloped. We write the negative sign and then we say its slope is equal to marginal physical product of labor over marginal physical product of capital. And we studied marginal physical product of labor and marginal physical product of capital. Marginal means additional. This is the additional output brought into the firm by an additional worker employed. And same is the case, the additional output brought into the firm, produced into the firm by an additional unit of capital. So here we say, when extra worker is added, what happens? Marginal physical product of labor is going to say, you can say, what happens to the marginal physical product of labor? Are the extra workers, they are producing more output than the previous workers, or their output is diminishing? We studied that the extra worker, when they are added into the fixed factors, their additional output will be eventually diminishing. So can we say when less capital is employed, less units of capital will have more marginal physical productivity? So we can say when denominator is increasing but numerator is falling, so overall its slope is diminishing. But we say its slope, first we are giving up more capital to have more labor, but later on what happens? As we are moving along this isocont, the slope is diminishing. Its slope is called marginal rate of technical substitution. And in case of indifference curve, we said this is called MRS, marginal rate of substitution. But now in case of production, we say it is marginal rate of technical substitution. To mean how we say this is marginal, how the inputs are going to be substituted. Technically, we are moving from capital intensive to the labor intensive method, or we are moving from labor intensive to capital intensive. So the slope of isocont curve will be diminishing as we move along this isocont curve. We say previously it is steeper on the left side of the isocont, but as we move along the right side, as we move from left to right, its slope will be eventually diminishing due to this reason, that marginal physical product of marginal physical product of labor of any extra worker will be eventually diminishing. More and more workers are added to this production unit, so the additional output of the additional workers will be eventually diminishing. Whereas when we are having less capital employed, so its marginal productivity will be increasing. So overall, the level of output does not vary. The total output remains same. The thing is that now more output is produced by capital rather than labor, and labor is producing less extra output. Therefore, total output does not vary, but its slope will be diminishing. Marginal rate of technical substitution is diminishing. We say the slope of isocont curve is negative and its slope is equal to change in capital due to change in labor, that is negatively sloped. And how to remember this, its slope? If we're writing change in capital on the numerator and change in labor in the denominator, we have to write marginal physical product of labor on the numerator of the right side of the equation, and whereas the marginal physical product of capital in the denominator of the right side, and they are reciprocal to each other. We can see over here. All right. So this is the slope of isoquant, and we say it is negatively sloped, and we can say its slope is also diminishing. So isoquant curve actually shows us what? The different combinations of labor and capital which are employed by the firm in order to produce the same level of output. So that is called isoquant, and it is negatively sloped. Like if we move along one isoquant, we are substituting what? One factor of production with another. If we move from left to right, we are substituting capital with labor. So its slope is eventually diminishing, but the total output along one isoquant curve, that remains same. It is not going to vary. All right. This is about isoquant. When firm wants to produce more output, it has to employ more labor and more capital to produce 3,000 units of output. Or if it wants to produce 5,000 units of output, it has to further employ the number of workers and capital in order to produce more. And one thing more, the productivity of these factors of production should also be increasing, that they should be able to produce along higher isoquant. We should be having a better quality of equipments in order to produce 3,000 or 5,000 units of output. And along with that capital, we should also be needing a trained labor force in order to produce more, or more specialist labor force in order to produce more output. But along one isoquant, either we are producing along one isoquant, second one or third one, the total output level will not be varying. And if we are substituting one factor of production with another, that will be called the marginal rate of technical substitution, and that will be equal to its slope. How many units of capital will be given up to employ an extra worker? That depends upon the marginal physical product of labor over marginal physical product of capital. Now, that's all about our isoquant. Now, I want to ask one question. Which combination of labor and capital should be employed by the firm in order to minimize its cost of production when it wants to produce either 1,000 units, 3,000 or 5,000 units? This is my question. How many number of workers and capital units will be employed by the firm in order to produce a given level of output? This isoquant simply does not tell us about the relative prices of capital and labor. It only tells us the level of output and their marginal physical productivities and its downward sloping. Okay, it does not tell us what are the wages paid to the workers, what are the capital rewards in the form of interest are paid to the capital owners. So the prices of these inputs are not shown by isoquant. It only tells us the level of output which is produced by different combination. It is failed to tell us anything about the relative prices of these inputs. In order to see the cost of production which is involved, because production, whenever a firm is producing the output, it needs to produce the output at the lowest cost possible. Its per unit cost should be minimized because its aim is to maximize the profit, and that aim can only be achieved whenever we are minimizing the cost of production. In order to see the cost of production, we need another thing. What is that? The ISO cost line. As we studied in our consumer behavior, the budget line of the consumer was studied in order to see where the consumer was able to maximize the utility within his income and the combinations of the two goods given to him. Now, ISO cost line, ISO means again equal cost, means the expenditures on labor and capital. So this line will be telling us the same cost of production by different combinations of labor and capital. So we'll be studying ISO cost line and the least cost combination of labor and capital, where firm will be able to minimize its per unit cost of production and to achieve the productive efficiency. I will be studying that in our next class by tomorrow, inshallah. So ISO cost line will be used to see the least cost combination of labor and capital. Alone isocon does not tell us anything, the least cost combination, because it is only telling us the different combinations of labor and capital. It does not tell us anything about the relative prices of labor and capital. So for that purpose, we'll be doing the ISO cost line by tomorrow, inshallah. And then we'll be seeing the least cost combination, and then we'll be moving ahead the long run production function of the firm, what happens in the long run, and how it will be able to enjoy the economies of scale in the long run, not in the short run. So that's all for today. The isocon curve, I have explained everything related to isocon, and then we will be doing the ISO cost line by tomorrow. Thank you.